See, Red Nation, what's good? Crazy news yesterday on Lonzo Ball, right? So we're going to break that down and ask the question to the channel. Let's just have the conversation. Was Lonzo Ball a bad signing? Let's talk about all that and more starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Bulls. Our Bulls fans talk, so make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Here is the thing. Yesterday, we basically heard Lonzo give like a pre-surgery press conference. And the gist of that press conference is that Lonzo has been struggling to walk for quite some time. Lonzo has a limit to how far he can actually bend his knee without feeling pain, and that he hasn't been able to go up the stairs. And so here's the thing, right? While Lonzo Ball's on the court, amazing player. I think that he's a key to the Chicago Bulls team. And if you don't have Lonzo Ball, right, you really hope that Ayo Dosunmu is able to develop. You really hope that Dalen Terry is able to step up, right? Like you hope that these young guys are able to fill his place because he's that important to this team that you can't go into this season without somebody who does a lot of the things that Lonzo Ball does. But here's the thing for me. While I love AK, I think he's a great GM. I love, what he's brought to the Chicago Bulls. The question on the table today, was Lonzo Ball a bad signing? And as you look at this, as you look at how it breaks down, not to say Lonzo Ball is a bad player, but we knew coming into this season, or coming into this contract, I should say, that Lonzo Ball could have knee issues. We knew coming into this contract that Lonzo Ball had injury issues. We knew coming into this contract that Lonzo Ball had things that could linger on into this Chicago Bulls team. And guess what? We absolutely got bit by it, right? Like, and I'm not saying like I wasn't on board with it. I was all for the Lonzo Ball signing. I loved the Lonzo Ball signing. I still like the Lonzo Ball signing if he's on the court. But we're talking about being in year 2 of a 4-year contract, and he's giving you 35 games. He's about to miss a good chunk of the season again after surgery. And how he's talking, ladies and gentlemen, this does not sound like a 4 to 6 week injury. This does not sound like we're going to be reevaluating Lonzo Ball in 4 to 6 weeks. This sounds like we're heading toward 10, 11, 12 weeks, stuff like that, right? Good chunks of the season. That's what it sounds like we're heading towards with Lonzo Ball here. So I have serious concerns, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to just come out and say it. To me, right, I look at the Lonzo Ball signing as a bad sign. It sucks to say. But at the end of the day, your best ability to the team is what? I've said it a million times on this show. You already understand it. Availability. And Lonzo Ball just hasn't been available. Lonzo Ball just hasn't been on the court enough for the Chicago Bulls. And guess what? He's going to continue not being on the court enough to the point where he even said, right, worst case scenario, I could miss the season. Another season? So we're now talking about being in year 2 all the way washed off of a possible 4-year season. And listen, I understand, right? For the long run, from the human aspect, Lonzo, I hope you get better, brother. I hope your knee heals up real well. I hope you're able to have the NBA career that you hope to have. But as of right now, as it stands, right, like, there's no way you can look at this, and unless you're just looking at it blindly and say that this is a bad signing or this is a good signing by AK. You're almost halfway through a 4-year deal, and you've gotten the first half of one season out of this guy. And you're probably, now here's the thing, right? Caveat to everything, right? On the other side of this, guess what? If we get into a second year and Lonzo only plays the second half of the season, but he comes back and he plays phenomenal and he goes into the playoffs, right? Opinions can change. I'm all for my opinion being changed. I'm just basing it on the things that we're hearing right now, to the point where we could talk about Lonzo Ball missing an entire second season. We could talk about Lonzo Ball missing, like if he misses a chunk of this season, fine, right? If you come back in the playoffs and you play well, if you come back for the second half of the season, play well, you're good going to the playoffs, you're killing the game, I'm all on board. I'm back in, baby. But I think this is the thing, right, for me. What then is left to be believed as we move forward? Is Lonzo Ball our long-term starting point guard? Or is Lonzo Ball, okay, he's finally healthy, he's finally playing well, now's the time to move him, right? Because that's the situation that you've gotten yourself into here. That's the situation that you're looking at and you're saying, okay, listen, I really like Lonzo. I really would love to have Lonzo on the court. I really would love to have Lonzo be a part of this team. But at the end of the day, can we risk holding on to Lonzo Ball for the long run if Lonzo Ball is not going to be healthy? I think that's something that you really, really have to take a deep look at. And that could be, that could shape the face of this team moving forward. And I know that sounds a little like drastic, but like I said, Lonzo Ball is so key to what the Chicago Bulls team does. Being the focal point on defense, getting this team out in transition. He elevated Zach LaVine's game. He elevated... Can I say he elevated DeMar DeRozan's game? I think he spaced out DeMar DeRozan's game a little bit better. I'll say that, right? I'm not going to say he elevated it. DeMar continued to murder after Lonzo went out, but he allowed for more space around DeMar's game, right? I think that he elevated Vooch's game. He got Vooch more involved in the system, right? And so I think there's a couple of I think those are like major things that you look at and you say, this was a key piece of this team heading forward. This was a key cog to what you wanted to do moving forward. And not only might you not get that cog back this season, but then what are the question marks heading into next season? What are the question marks heading into the season after that? Because I think Hayes brought it up over on Locked On Bulls, right? And he was just like, if Lonzo Ball comes back, he's 100% healthy the last 2 years of this deal, and he plays perfectly fine for the Chicago Bulls, right? How do we view it then? And I get that. Like, listen, I think everything is relative in sports. Everything is, how do we feel in the moment in sports, right? Like, but that's just a player proving me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want Lonzo to come back, have a 20-year NBA career. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to sit here and talk about Lonzo Ball being hurt. I don't want to see Lonzo Ball be hurt. But I think when you break it down just in this one contract, just in this one motion, right? This is the first time that I think I've looked at a contract and I've said, this is a bad signing by AK. This is the first time I've looked at a contract and I've said, this signing, while in the short run definitely made us better, hurt us with things that we knew were a part of Lonzo Ball's current level or current state of career. If it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Guess what? We got a duck. And nobody should be surprised by that. Nobody should be confused by what we saw. Nobody should be, right? Like, you hate to see it, but we knew that this was a possibility when signing Lonzo Ball. We didn't know that it would linger on this long, but we knew that injury kind of comes along with the package. And so for me, right, like, I look at that and I say, is this a bad signing? Yeah. Was I on board with the signing? Absolutely. I was willing to take the risk on the player very much like AK does. And I'm not going to – sometimes you lose. I'm not going to say that AK is a bad GM for going to get Lonzo Ball. I'm not going to say that AK has failed the Chicago Bulls by going to get Lonzo Ball, right? Like, sometimes you gamble and you lose. Guess what? He gambled and he lost. How y'all doing? I'm in Vegas. That was a gamble and loss moment to me. And hopefully, hey, listen, and sometimes you can turn it around. Hopefully, the surgery that Lonzo is getting is essentially going in there to clean out the knee, remove some of that discomfort, hopefully. As far as we know, everything is still structurally sound with Lonzo. As far as we know, everything is still, at the end of the day, intact in the right way, right? He's just having some discomfort here. So they're going in, they're going to do a cleanup. Hopefully, that's going to get him back to 100% and get him back on the court able to run. But I think we've got to get to the point where we can walk before we run, and we have yet to get up the stairs. And I think that brings another question on, right? If the situation was as bad as Lonzo Ball said, by the way, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Rocking with your boy. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Bulls, how Bulls fans talk, so make sure to get in tune with us. We heard from Hoodie on the show. We'd also heard previously that the Chicago Bulls have been monitoring the situation with Lonzo Ball out there with LeVar. They've continued to watch him. They've continued to keep their eye on him. It wasn't just LeVar going to town, having Lonzo in a pool with a basketball, doing up-downs. If you watch the entire process of this and you realize, I get like trying to let the natural order happen, but if you get to a month, 2 months before the season, not a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months before the season, and you realize, hey, he's not getting better. Because he still says he can't walk up the stairs without discomfort. If you realize he's not getting better, now I have to ask the question, why did you wait so long to get this surgery? Because it doesn't sound like he moved in the right direction in the slightest. We kept hearing all the he's moving at his own pace. He's moving slowly along, but we're happy with where he's at. What were you happy about? That he could get out of bed in the morning? Why did we wait so long to have this surgery? Was there a pushback from Lonzo's team on the second surgery? Right? Like, because it makes no sense to me, it makes no sense to me when you're speaking about something that it's a cleanup. It's not a full-on surgery. It's a cleanup. It's a cleanup. He's got to go through rehab again. He's got to, like, wouldn't you rather have done this in the offseason where he can still work on things while he's hopefully rehabbing his knee and not feeling discomfort and moving back in the right direction? Right? Like, wouldn't you rather get him to that point in the offseason? I've got a lot of questions around the Lonzo Ball situation, man. I got a lot of questions. And I just feel like the Chicago Bulls kind of I feel like both sides have fumbled the ball on this a lot. I feel like both sides, to me, have fumbled the ball on this. They haven't put themselves in a position where they can have early in-season success, which, listen, at the end of the day, doesn't mean much. But there's going to be these question marks around now Lonzo Ball the rest of the way. And we know what it is, right? We know at the end of the day, I said this when Hoodie was on the show. You've got, as the GM, guess what? People like me are going to come out and say that Lonzo Ball was a bad signing. And he doesn't care, but it's how I feel. People are going to come out and say Lonzo Ball was a bad signing if he goes in for another surgery. So guess what? Let's not have him go in for surgery yet. Let's see if we can work him back with different methods. Let's see if we can get him back moving in the right position with different methods, right? Let's get him feeling better. Then all of a sudden, we don't have to worry about none of this. None of this is on our plate, right? Like that's the thing. Now it doesn't look bad. Now it doesn't feel. But at the end of the day, what's going to get the player back on the court sooner? You watched him all offseason not be able to bend his knee past 60 degrees. And you did nothing. You continued with the same process. Don't they call that insanity? When you continue to try the same thing that doesn't work over and over again, don't they call that insanity? Now, I'm sure there's more to the story. I'm sure there's more that goes into it. I'm sure there's more in depth that goes into it, right? But why wait so long? A lot of questions around the Lonzo Ball situation, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with your boy, man. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Got a lot of content coming out today. Going to be dropping this video, going to be dropping a Bears video later today as well. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with your boy. Make sure that you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the page. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, still making content out here in Vegas, man. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.